Hey, Greg.
Hey, Tim.
How's it going?
It's going pretty good.
Awesome.
What's going on with you? Anything good?
It's February in Pennsylvania. Just got, probably 10 inches of snow
Easily.
the other day.
Yeah.
I'm feeling that late 40s back. It's pretty fun.
My problem was I forgot to stretch.
Yeah, definitely. I think my hamstrings were a little tight. I should have definitely stretched. That would have been all the difference.
So true.
Yeah.
I made William, I did most of it, but I did make William do a little bit of it.
Yeah.
But he was doing homework.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah, I think my kids were conveniently catching up on sleep while I was out shoveling. And then I had gotten the heating pad out because that's how much my back hurt.
Yeah.
And then I got up for a second and came back, and my daughter had curled up on the heating pad to cozy up and warm herself up a little bit. So
She had a, hard morning of sleep.
That's right. Yeah. So, but other than that, it's all just unicorns and rainbows.
Yeah.
Couldn't be better.
Pitchers and catchers reported.
That's true.
That's something to look forward to. Yeah. Unless you're a Mets fan.
Yeah. Actually, I saw a thing. I think it was one of my cousins posted this little write-up on a state park down near Clearwater, which is where the Phillies have their Grapefruit League play down there, and it was just gorgeous. The photos of this state park by Clearwater, and I was like, I think we might have to back up the old front-wheel drive sleigh and drive down to Clearwater and enjoy a little preseason baseball.
Just to get away from this horrible weather.
Yeah, but to be fair, I am getting away this year in the beginning of March.
Very exciting. Yeah.
That should be fun.
That's very cool.
Get down to the equatorial temperatures and probably get sunburned, but I don't care.
Listen, I'm going to leave a bag out front that I want you to take with you. It's a large bag. You may hear some rustling inside. Just ignore that. Just take the bag with you and leave it there.
Sounds good. Anything else new and exciting in the world of
No,
Greg?
No, all good. Physical therapy has become a part of my regular life because I'm over 45.
Yeah. I've started to collect all the instructions that I've been given from the various physical therapies that I've had. I'm like, oh, my calf is bugging me. I should dig out the physical therapy.
Because you're like, why do I need to go back?
Yeah.
I can do this exercise on my own.
Yeah, it's a good time.
I feel like I need to create like one of those brown multi-files and just have it alphabetized.
Sure.
Let's see, neck. Oh, here we go.
Yeah,
okay,
perfect.
February of 23.
Yeah, I'm thinking of taking some night school classes and just get certified in physical therapy so I can self-diagnose better than I do as it is now.
Save a lot of money.
Yeah. Actually, that reminds me, years ago, Lee and I joked that our neighborhood should have like a shed that is the community shed.
Okay.
Where if you have, some particular toy that, is kind of expensive, you just put it in there and then you sign it out and your kids can use it. And then we got to the point where we're like, you know what? We should just get an MRI machine that is the community MRI. So whenever anyone needs a little scope of the knee or whatever, just go rent out the MRI machine.
Save some money.
Yeah. I'm checking eBay. See if we can find a slightly used MRI machine.
But that's not why we're here today, is it?
Probably not.
I think what we're doing? Talking about 80s restaurants?
Yeah, I thought it'd be fun to go back and maybe relive some of those favorite places that may or may not still be around. And doing some research, it looks like a lot of them aren't around anymore.
Well, it's kind of funny because, as a kid growing up in the 80s from a middle-class family, going out to eat was a big deal. It was like, wow, we're going out to eat. And it was exciting. And, maybe you did it once a week, right? Chinese food or something like that. My kids go out to eat all the time now, right? Because we're just so busy that we don't have time to cook or we're just too dang tired.
Yeah. I feel like it was probably even more infrequent than that. Like, I know the 80s Book It, the Pizza Hut reading program.
Yes.
That was like a big reason for us to go out. I feel like that was quarterly that they do the Book It contest and we'd get our little individual pan pizza and we'd go to Pizza Hut. But it was pretty infrequent. We didn't go out nearly as much as we do now.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. But some of the fun places that we enjoyed, one that I remember being a big deal because of the type of burgers that they had, and that was Roy Rogers. Something about their burgers, like, to me, were much better than a McDonald's burger by far. And Burger King at the time, I don't know. We didn't go to Burger King very much.
No, we
so
didn't
like
either.
when we went to Roy Rogers, I think they actually had the first like bacon burger, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so that was like my brother and I were all about Roy Rogers back in the day.
Same here. We had one that wasn't too far. I grew up in the middle of nowhere,
Yeah.
so we had to drive half an hour to get to anything. But one of the closer ones was a Roy Rogers. But we went for the chicken.
Oh, okay.
Oh my gosh, the Roy Rogers chicken.
Yeah.
That was some good stuff, man.
Well, that reminds me of the Seinfeld episode where Kenny Rogers' Roasters opens up and what is it? Kramer gets addicted to the chicken. Yeah,
that was us. We'd get a bucket of chicken between me and my brother, and it would be gone in a day or.
Yeah. Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. For us, we had to drive pretty far too. It was down near the bigger mall, but it was out on the outskirts. Like the mall was here, and then the the Roy Rogers was over here.
Yeah,
it was always good. But
yeah, no, I was gonna say there's very very few left. There used to be a couple out on the Jersey Turnpike and the Pennsylvania Turnpike. I wonder if they're even still in existence. I was going on some trip or something and I saw it. I'm like, oh yeah, but it's a rest stop.
Yeah.
So it really wasn't very good, I have to say.
Well, and I also feel like there was it varied the way that they looked. Like McDonald's, it's like, they tried to make them all look exactly the same. But I feel like the Roy Rogers, like you'd see them when we'd go traveling and they'd have these giant cowboy hat sort of things. And it was very different than the one that was near to us. But I thought they did, in fact, close their doors, but maybe I'm wrong.
Okay. I know that the majority of them did close, but there's still a few hanging on, and they just happen to be like the Turnpike ones.
Okay. Actually, I had some notes here. It did say that all the locations were sold off in the 90s, but the name was re-franchised in 2003.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's like, I guess it's more of like you can buy a franchise and just open one somewhere, but it's not the original umbrella franchise that they had back when we were kids. So.
If I hit the Mega Millions, I will franchise a Roy Rogers, and it'll be free chicken for anybody who wants to come by.
Yeah.
It'll be in my backyard.
That's so funny. So what were some of the other ones that you remember as a kid? Well,
this one was kind of a very rare treat. It was now my mom was from Brooklyn, and then grew up in New Jersey later on. But my mom would always tell me about this restaurant called White Castle, and that these burgers were so good. They were called sliders, and I was really little. And sometimes when we were on very long car trips, because they're only in like North Jersey near New York, and I remember the first time, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is delicious. Very very cheap, but delicious. Did you ever hit a White Castle?
I remember it was kind of years later, one opened up again kind of near the mall where the Roy Rogers was. Yeah. And I remember we kind of had that similar, like, it's White Castle. It's like it had been kind of built up like it was this big deal.
Yeah.
And I remember looking at the burger and seeing that they like punched holes in the burgers to let the grease drain out. And we're like, oh, this is going to be fantastic. And to your point that they were the mini burgers, the little sliders. Kind of before, like now, sliders have become sort of
a thing,
a big thing again. Yeah. Everywhere you go, we've got sliders. But back then, White Castle was they were ahead of the curve. They were winning that game with their mini sliders.
Totally.
Yeah.
And only a couple of times. It was so cool to finally like do that as a kid. Like, oh, White Castle, you get all excited. It really wasn't that good.
Yeah.
Well, they have them in microwave. I don't know if you've seen them.
Yeah, I remember somebody I knew had gotten them and they were super excited, and then they were like, oh, they just really were disappointed by the microwave version of it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They're not bad. They're microwave frozen food, but they're passable.
Okay. Yeah. Well, maybe I'll have to give them a try. I've never tried it. I was only taking someone else's opinion.
There's a way you have to heat it up though. So if you do get them, let me know. I know like a really good way, because the bread in the microwave will dry out.
Sure. Yeah.
And it's not good. Yeah. So maybe that's why they were disappointed.
Yeah. They maybe just threw them in and didn't follow the instructions.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. I remember. Do you remember Hot Pockets?
Oh, of course.
There was a period of time where my wife and I we were just on a bad bender of eating Hot Pockets all the time, and the little heat sleeve that you'd have to put them in.
Yeah.
And I'd eat one for breakfast. I'd eat one for lunch. Have a late night snack. Like I was just on a Hot Pocket tear. They were so bad for you, but they were so good.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. I was gonna say they're kind of healthy, right?
Sure.
How much sodium is one of those?
I know, right? And I'm going off on a tangent here, but Marie Callender. She's
Yes. Yeah.
She's got all kinds of very specific ways you got to microwave anything that's Marie Callender to
Yes.
try to preserve like the crispiness. Because I feel like so many of the things, if you just throw it in the microwave, hit 2 minutes and just let it go, it's like, it's rubbery, it's dry, it's not good at all. But Marie's been spending a lot of time figuring out how to use a microwave.
I used to get the Marie Callender's fettuccine Alfredo with the broccoli, and it was delicious. And then I don't know if they changed the recipe or something, and it will it was pretty bad.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of the stuff that had like all those really bad things that you're not supposed to eat got pulled out. You know, there's no
all those great preservatives.
Yeah, no hydrogen in it. I can't even say it. The oil that has a lot of hydrogen in it. Which reminds me of another magical place we used to go to as kids. I think pizza was definitely a strong line for us. You know, we went to Pizza Hut and did all that. But Showbiz Pizza, which I know we've brought up in the past, you know, sort of the precursor to Chuck E. Cheese. But Showbiz apparently, you know, is no longer as well. But that was always such a wild, crazy sort of, as a little kid anyway, to see animatronics and, you know, bad pizza. And an arcade. The arcade was definitely a big part of it. Yeah,
most definitely. We didn't have Showbiz, but we had Chuck E. Cheese where I grew up. And man, the kid who had the birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese was a king for a week.
Oh yeah, yeah. And I feel like there was probably an age, I don't remember exactly, but maybe between like 2nd and 4th grade, where it seemed like everybody, it's like, where's your birthday party, Chuck? You know, Showbiz Pizza. Yeah, I feel like there was a lot of times where I'd be sitting at a booth with a bunch of my friends, and then my mom would be sort of out in the arcade with my siblings, you know, and debating whether or not to get some crappy pizza for everyone else. Because it was, the pizza was really not very good.
I didn't remember the pizza being that bad, but of course, when we had kids, that's where we took our kids. Yeah. That pizza is horrible. No offense, Chucky, but it's a terrible pizza.
Yeah. When I think our family, maybe more than, you know, the average who would go to like Chuck E. Cheese regularly or Showbiz, we were so spoiled by Pizza Hut pizza that was like super, the deep dish, buttery.
So good.
Yeah, I mean, it was just, again, not probably terribly good for you, but man, we loved that Pizza Hut pan pizza.
Yeah.
And then we'd have like traditional thin crust, be like, oh.
Yeah. One of the best things about Pizza Hut was that lunch when they did the
buffet.
The buffet.
Yeah.
That was ridiculous.
Yeah. Go back about 15, well, probably more like almost 20 years. I'd hit that for lunch multiple days a week.
It was a gift that kept on giving.
Oh, right? Yeah. And back then, I could just shovel pizza and all day. It didn't matter. Yeah. Now it's a little different.
You'd get those huge red plastic glasses.
Yeah. My sister, she's a screen printer, and she found the red glasses, but they didn't have the Pizza Hut logo on it.
Oh, okay.
So she custom printed the Pizza Hut logo onto the red cups. It's pretty fantastic.
That is fantastic.
Yeah.
Let's see. What about, did you know, I forgot while we were talking about Chuck E. Cheese before I forget, Chuck E. Cheese was actually founded by Atari's own Nolan Bushnell.
Really?
Yes.
That's pretty cool.
I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And going along this line, my kids are convinced, and I don't know if this is true, that Chuck E. Cheese has been put out of business because of Five Nights of Freddy.
I guess, I could see that.
And I was like, oh, yeah, I could, because I mean, those animatronics were a little creepy to begin with, but then they took that to a whole other level.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, maybe.
Yeah, and I remember when the kids were younger, like kids talking about that whole concept of Five Nights at Freddy, but I never took the time to really figure it, you know, what is it?
Yeah.
And then recently there was the movie that came out, and I was like, my son started explaining it to me, and I was like, this is super weird, like super duper weird. And kids are into this? Okay. Yeah.
Same thing. William just explained it to me because of the movie. I'm like, what exactly is Five Nights of Freddy? And he's like, well, you got to stop from being killed by these animatronic things. And I'm like, oh, okay. All right. Kind of cool, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny. I'm looking at a photo of the original Showbiz. And to look at it, I would, if I were locked in there now as an adult with those things, I'm pretty sure I'd be pretty freaked out.
I don't. Which one's scarier? The gorilla in the tux, the mouse in the cheerleader outfit, or just the bear naked?
I think Bear is definitely the weirdest. But yeah, it's quite the treat for the eyes, and we'll throw it up on the website so you guys can see if you don't remember Showbiz. But it was pretty wild,
pretty bad. Yeah.
So
How?
this,
Oh, go
sorry.
ahead. No, go. We're so excited about all these fun restaurants.
food. This one, it's obviously shown up in a lot of things like Austin Powers and other movies, but Bob's Big Boy was another one that we, on the occasional times when we would go out, we'd go to. It was actually called LB's, was one of them that had it had the Big Boy, sculpture, but it was called LB's, and I guess it was part of the franchise that some of them had the Bob's Big Boy, some of them were called LB's. But I remember getting their strawberry pie. That was the thing that we would always get as a dessert.
Okay.
And it was like gelatinous, like sugar goo with the strawberries. Yeah. And the pieces were huge. And they'd put all this whipped cream on it. It was almost like a contest to see who could actually eat this massive piece of strawberry pie.
I've never been to a Bob's Big Boy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. What do they know? Is it burgers? What are they known for?
I feel like it was... And again, like the strawberry pie is the thing that sticks out in my mind. But I feel like it was very sort of Americana food, and it was a sit-down restaurant kind of vibe to it. But more like I'd put it in like a diner sort of kind of food. It wasn't quite the same as like a fast food like McDonald's, Burger King, but it was, I guess, supposed to be a step above that kind of.
Sure.
Which one of the other ones is Howard Johnson's. I put it in sort of a similar sort of vibe to Howard Johnson's. Yeah.
Never ate one of those either.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, it's funny because I don't remember a lot of the food at Howard Johnson's, but I do remember we'd be like going on vacation. We wouldn't quite be where we needed to be, so we'd go to a Howard Johnson's to eat.
Oh, okay.
They were always, I think it was always like a little motel and a restaurant together.
Yeah.
And the thing that I remember is they would make these. It was orange sherbet and Sprite, I think, and they had a name, I think, for that drink.
Okay.
And that's the thing that sticks out in my mind that we would get. It was always like the treat part of it, whatever the food was, I'm like, whatever. But the
give
treat.
me that sugar.
Yeah.
I just remember that because the Mets had a third baseman by the name of Howard Johnson for a number of years. Well, one that I always really liked, and I don't know if it's a Jersey thing or not, but Stewart's, that makes Stewart's root beer.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Stewart's was a drive-in. And the waitresses would actually come out on roller skates.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And bring the food, and they had the trays that would clip on to your window, and it was just like super fun. You got the root beer in a big frosted mug.
Sure.
And the food was pretty, just burgers and fries kind of stuff. But that was cool to actually go to a restaurant where you drive in and they came out on roller skates and hooked it up onto your windshield. Yeah. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I don't think we had. I mean, I've seen them since, but when we were kids, I don't remember them being around here.
Oh, okay.
And I don't remember ever having that experience either of having the roller skate, bring your food to your car situation. But I do know, this is probably going back again 15 or so years when Sonic finally kind of made their way into the area up here. And I remember being super, like late 20s, early 30s, like super jazzed to go to Sonic and then getting the food and being like, didn't totally live up to my hope. But it still was fun, the experience of them bringing the food out to you and stuff.
Yeah. But like you said, mid.
Yeah. The commercials, they seem so excited and like ice-filled, blue drink that they bring out. They're super excited about it. But.
And then they had all this like these chili cheese fries and like all these crazy concoctions. You're like, oh yeah, but when you get it, it would be like, yeah. Now for us, where I grew up, I don't know if it was the same owner, but right next door to the Stewart's was a Dairy Queen. Did you have a Dairy Queen growing up?
We did. There was a few, again, not super close, but it'd be like a special thing. We'd go to Dairy Queen.
Okay.
And I remember like getting a Blizzard for the first time.
Blew my mind.
I was like, this is incredible. You mean you're going to take candy bars and mash them up and put them in ice cream? And you can turn it upside down and it doesn't fall out? Yeah, no. And I mean, to this day, I still like getting a Blizzard every once in a while.
Absolutely.
They're so good.
Chocolate with the peanut butter cups.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Talking about losing weight. That's a problem right there.
Greg, I think we should just shut this episode down, take a field trip, go get some ice cream.
Now we would go to when we played Little League baseball. The coaches, after a win, would always take us to Dairy Queen and get us an ice cream. Which was so cool.
Yeah, there was a place. It was not a franchise at all. It was just called The Spot, and it was like an old school like drive-in place with had like the slanted roof, the glass front where you just go up and it was just ice cream. And I remember my dad would take us there, and it was sort of like a special thing to go to The Spot and get an ice cream, and it just felt like you were. Even at a young age, it felt like you were stepping back in time, that this place had not changed probably since like the 50s or something like
Right.
that.
Yeah.
But similar, like it was that special occasion, if we had a soccer game and our team won, my dad would take us there and we'd get ice cream or something. So,
yeah. That's cool. That's how I felt about Stewart's. Just the idea of eating at your car and stuff was really wild.
Yeah. So this was a place that I think I might have went there once or twice. It wasn't like a super popular place for me, but I know it was popular in the area, and that was Chi-Chi's.
Yeah.
Again, everything popped up by our mall.
Yeah.
It was right next to the mall that the Chi-Chi's was there, and I remember like as we got a little bit older, like everybody was like, "Oh, we're going to Chi-Chi's. Oh, we're going to Chi-Chi's," and I was like, I guess maybe I didn't reach my fandom for that type of food until I got a little bit older. But,
Okay.
yeah.
When you said like what age are we talking?
I feel like it was like maybe somewhere between like 11 and 16.
Oh, okay.
That range where it was like at its height that people were always going to Chi-Chi's.
I see. Okay. Because I didn't find out about Chi-Chi's until college.
Okay.
There was a Chi-Chi's around the corner from my fraternity house.
Yeah.
And so we didn't really go that often because we had a fraternity house. But later on, when we graduated, we would always meet up, for happy hour and drinks, at the Chi-Chi's.
Yeah.
And I have some good memories of that with, your college friends. You're still kind of clinging on and drinking too much and singing karaoke.
Well, it's funny too because of like the location of where our Chi-Chi's was, being that it was near the mall. New franchises would pop up all the time.
Oh.
And sort of on the other side of the mall that was more accessible, a Chili's opened up a couple years later. And I feel like that kind of was the beginning of the end for Chi-Chi's.
Yeah.
And this is just like a little side note, but the very first time I went to Chili's, it was a school trip where
Really?
I think I was in 9th grade. We went to see some, I don't even know what. And our teacher was like, "Oh, we're going to get lunch. We're going to go to Chili's." And it's a small class, right? And let's just say I was wearing some really tight pants. And there were some girls on the bus. They were saying some stuff and whatever.
About your pants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I actually had my shirt tucked in, which again is like, I don't know why. So I had to like yank my shirt down and try to pretend like nothing was happening downstairs. So anyway, I remember that Chili's for various reasons.
That's awesome. Yeah, Chili's was fun.
So anyway, Bennigan's.
I don't know much about Bennigan's. Can't ever say I even ever ate there.
Yeah. The only thing I think of is in the movie Office Space, there's the scenes where they're, I don't know if it is, I think it's called, is it Shenanigans? I think it's called?
Latch-Keys?
Yeah.
Oh, no, Shenanigans and another, he mentioned, I just watched it just the other day. It's so funny.
But that whole idea of like the way that restaurant was set up seemed to me, to be very reminiscent of the way Bennigan's used to be set up.
Okay. Because it was TGIF that used to have all the stuff on the walls.
Oh, yeah,
like they would
true.
talk about like AD or distracting. Like like just every corner, every square inch was covered by some stupid piece of junk. And the flare.
Oh
right?
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Jennifer Aniston with the flare.
Sure, yeah. Some extreme fajitas or pizza shooters. Somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
Such a good movie. I love that movie.
I think my first year of like official salaried work, I watched that movie almost every night when I got home from work. Like, this can't be the end. No. All that school just to go to work every day.
So about your TPS report. Did you not get the memo? I'll make sure we get you a copy of that memo.
I'm going to need you to come in on Saturday. Yeah, that'd be great.
Bill Lumberg.
So good. And now Lumberg is he on one of the NCISs or?
Oh, really?
I think so.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah. It's one of those like cop shows, I think.
He pulled it off. I mean, he just nailed that, condescending
perfect.
boss.
Oh, so good.
My favorite part is when the main character, of course, I'm blanking on his name.
Peter.
When he just goes in and he lays it out in front of the consultants. And they're like, "We think you're executive material."
Exactly.
I'm like, this is corporate America.
And the whole Michael Bolton thing.
Oh, it's just when they're beating up the fax machine, it's just so great.
Yeah. PC load letter.
It's Superman 2.
Yeah.
just one. We're not going to revisit it because we talked about it in depth at one of our previous episodes. But you got to have an honorary mention to Ground Round.
Oh yeah, Ground Round.
So good.
Yeah. I think for us, that was like our New Year's tradition.
I
might have mentioned that before, but on New Year's, we would go to the Ground Round, the popcorn, the baseball hats for the ice cream.
The cartoons playing on the pull-down screen. It's great.
And it was always, I feel like it was always jammed. Like we'd always, you go in, you put your name in, you wait a half an hour, 45 minutes to get your table. And I feel like for us, though, too, we had, for a while, it was 5 and then 6. To get a table for 5 or 6 was always a little bit tougher.
A little bit harder than 4, yeah.
It was always a good time. We loved Ground Round.
Yeah.
And it was down by the mall. And it was like Ground Round, Chi-Chi's right next, or Chili's right next to each other.
Decisions,
That's
right?
Well,
this was fun.
Yeah.
But now I'm hungry now.
I know, right?
Latch-Key Dads, table for 2. Table for 2. Hey, Tim, I think it's about time for the report card.
Sounds good. So earlier in the episode, we mentioned the great movie Office Space, and I said that the restaurant was Shenanigans, which was completely wrong.
Yeah.
You said Latch-Key, which was a little bit closer. The actual restaurant there was Tchotchkes.
Nice.
So there it is.
So what grade do you want to give us this week?
Well, I think A+, right? Isn't that?
Yeah. Change of pace here.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Can't get enough Latch-Key Dad content? Well, check out latchkeydads.com.
That's right, Greg. On our website, we've got a plethora of photos from each episode, as well as other interesting links to content that we talk about on the show.
Yeah, Tim, I really enjoy all the pictures that you put up there, as they really bring the episode home.
Yeah, I guess I'm not afraid to show those embarrassing photos of my childhood. So, we encourage you to check out the website, latchkeydads.com, for all that content.
Excellent. And if you have a moment, check out our shop page where we've got really cool keychains for sale. If you don't know what to get your dad for Christmas, the holidays, Father's Day, birthday, check it out. It's a cool gift. Tim, did you know that listeners should like, review, and subscribe to the Latch-Key Dads podcast?
No. But now I know.
No,
Now he's out of the battle.